This is Tracey Welson-Rossman, Chief Marketing Officer at Shared Solutions, coming to you again from my home office, here for 15 Minutes With. And our guest today is Lanaya Nelson. She is Communications Director over at Motion Auto, which is a startup in the insurance industry. You would not think insurance industry is doing anything within, really heavy tech, but there's some interesting things that are coming out. So first, what I'd love to discuss is something that I think most people would, in technology, would assume that data is being used within your company. So first, tell us a little bit about what you're doing over at Motion, and then let's launch into the data discussion.
Absolutely. And thank you so much, Tracey, for having me on. Very excited and excited for the topics that we will likely cover. So Motion Auto, the founders, Jason Wooten and Daniel Weissman, they founded the company about 2 years ago. Primarily, they had, worked together, and they would go back and forth with certain scenarios that they needed help with. And they both came to one scenario where they could not find a solution. And that solution was primarily around data and the technology side of the auto insurance. So they decided, well, hey, let's make this a reality. So that was how Motion Auto came to be. And in the past 2 years, they have ramped up at a speed I haven't seen yet in the industry. We are writing policies now in Arizona, moving into Utah, and we are hoping, and actually the projections look pretty good, to be writing in 30 states by next year, which is crazy. And our main differentiator, and what will become our main differentiator, excuse me, is really the technology and the focus on technology and building, a completely new infrastructure to the auto insurance industry.
So tell me a little bit about how you're, the technology that you're using, and then, how important data is, and where you think that is going to play within, creating the disruption that you guys are looking for.
Absolutely. So right now, most auto insurance carriers now have a UBI, or usage-based insurance product, whether that is pay, pay as you drive, which has become a very important element with COVID, or pay how you drive. So it is based off of your driving behaviors, or a combination of the both. And we have a combination of both, and we are looking to build off of that technology using telematics data. And telematics has been around for a while, and I think
that's a new phrase for me.
Okay.
Can you explain what that is?
Absolutely. So telematics data, and it has been around for a while. And I'm so glad you brought up that point, Tracey, because I think it is just now becoming a buzzword, especially in the insurance industry. So telematics is location data that is being fed. They used to be, these big clunky sort of little systems that are put, in cars aftermarket. And now, most cars being manufactured right now have them built into their systems, the telemetry, actual physical structures. But you also can use your phone. And it's the same, it's the same sort of idea as Google Maps or Apple Map or iMap.
So we now have this new technology that's creating data, and
Yep.
then how are, a lot of times we're talking about, technology's great and it can create innovation, but sometimes technology is in search of a solution. So we prefer that there's a business process to go with that technology. So how are you using that data?
Yeah. Great question. And I think, for in terms of business, the first call to order is to get consumers and customers comfortable with the idea of telemetry and UBI. And it's what do they get out of this? And it's the same kind of idea as any tracking device. Like I use my Apple Watch, I always have it on, and it's tracking, steps, but it's also, I'm a runner, so I love using it to, track my running and track, I can track anything, any sort of movement in space that, happens throughout my day. And I have no problem knowing that Apple is tracking me because I'm getting so much out of it. And so there's this, conundrum with consumers that, it's this, how do we avert the big brother feeling? And I think it's really how do we bring and show the value of what we are bringing through that tracking. So I think that's kind of in the business sense, the biggest block that we've hit with telematics and UBI. But now again, with COVID, I think people are really seeing that value of especially the pay as you drive. Because, if you're not driving and you just look at your car sitting in the driveway, you're like, oh my gosh, I am paying how much money, for my premium when my risk has decreased so much. So I think the use case for UBI is, it's becoming apparent to consumers.
That's great. So that's just one piece that you'll be looking at with data, and I'm sure there's more to come from that. Another thing that we wanted to review was, we can't talk about insurance or cars without talking about autonomous driving.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think is going to happen, with the industry? I mean, the technology is on the automobile side, but what's the impact on the insurance side?
That's a great question that does not come up much, interestingly enough. So I think what I've been really focused on from the insurance perspective of autonomous driving in vehicles is the distribution of risk. And up until, this point, you have reinsurers and carriers. And, the risk primarily lies between the two in the distribution. But I think what we will find is that the risk will also, a percentage of it will start to fall on the manufacturers, and also, whatever types of, autonomous technology is being used while the car is in motion, which is really, really interesting.
It's going to be a trend that we should be watching, not only from the consumer side, but also from the B2B side.
Absolutely. Yes. And I think you just hit it on the nail. I think we will be seeing more and more a building of an ecosystem. And I think that's what's needed to really get connected. So both, autonomous vehicles and where that future is going. But right now, there's a huge shift in the connected vehicle space. And I think what I'm seeing is that no one can go it alone to really push this thing over, over the line. And there's this building of a really cool ecosystem. And I think, yeah, to your point, that's kind of where, things are going to be distributed in ways that we haven't seen yet.
Well, we'll be watching that, a little futurism here. Um, and then, to sort of build on, we think about technology within cars as, now, of course, autonomous vehicles, but there's a lot of Internet of Things that are happening within the car industry, as well as, how it connects over to insurance. So I thought we could talk about that for a little bit.
Absolutely. And to kind of go back to that idea of an ecosystem, what's interesting is right now, cars are being manufactured with these incredible infotainment systems. I don't know if you've seen them yet, but
I
they
do not have one in
basically,
my car. I try and keep it as simple as possible. I'm so
I
happy
have,
with my Bluetooth.
yeah, exactly. And yeah, so I think there's this whole, uh, you know, uh, e-commerce side of your driving experience that is coming to life, and it's incredible. So you have, these larger processors and computers being, they are in, excuse me, they're being manufactured, with the cars, and you can walk up and buy a vehicle with a, a computer processor in the car, which is incredible. So you have, now you're talking about updates, to these
Right.
processors. So it's something that can evolve with regulation. It's something that can evolve with, just once you're pulling insights from your customers, what do they want to see in their infotainment system within their car? And now also you can buy auto insurance within the infotainment system in your car. So it's a whole new channel of how, point of sale of auto insurance can be literally done within your car.
And that's just the smallest piece of what we are probably going to see in the future. Well,
Exactly.
thank you so much for
Absolutely.
joining us today. Look forward to speaking with you in the future to see, where you all are going with your use of data to
Yes,
create this new product.
absolutely. Thanks so much, Tracey.